This is why I'm worried about Alexander Volkanovski at UFC 294 against Islam Makhachev in their rematch. A lot of people already know that he took the fight on short notice, a week and a half's notice. He stepped up, saved the day after Charles Oliveira got injured. Fair play, he's already at a disadvantage there. But a lot of people don't remember, this man had surgery like a week after his fight with Yair Rodriguez, which was in July, okay? Which is really, really strange because most surgeries take about 6 to 8 weeks to recover from. And that's to like get back to normal with the use of your arm without it hurting, let alone be able to do sparring for MMA or hard wrestling practice for MMA either. This is why I'm worried about Alexander Volkanovski. Is his arm fully okay for this fight with Makhachev? I'm sure it's all right, but how long has it been all right for? 2 weeks? 3 weeks? I mean, we haven't had much time between the fight in July and this one in October. I'm going to go through the moments that he's mentioned the surgery in this video to bring it up. This is when he got the surgery. He also mentioned it immediately after his win against Yair Rodriguez at UFC 290 and mentioned it backstage in this interview as well. And there's also another moment where he mentioned it that I'm going to get to at the end of the video. We're going to start with the proof of his surgery being done. Right here. Surgery was a success. This was 2 months ago, probably like towards the latter end of 2 months. So probably like 2 months and 3 weeks ago. But this is when the surgery was done for Alexander Volkanovski.
Okay. Surgery done. Just had a gyros. Bainsy, how are you, mate?
Good.
Bainsy was wearing a hairnet.
Alex just doesn't know it.
My shirt.
He just mentions his surgery. Surgery done on his way back from the hospital or wherever he got it done. Probably the hospital, let's be honest. Just had his surgery done. On his arm, on his elbow. And it was something that he had to get done. And he knew that he had to get done as soon as he had the fight with Yair Rodriguez. Because allegedly this was an injury that took place in the training camp for the Yair Rodriguez fight. And that's what we're going to look at here in this bit, in his post-fight interview at UFC 290.
So, Bess, I'll be completely honest with you. I need to get a little bit of surgery on my arm.
You know what I mean? And he's already like twitching the arm as he talks about it as well. This is a problem for this fight with Makhachev, man. You don't just recover from surgery that quickly, let alone be ready to get right back into hard wrestling training in a training camp. Let alone be able to do the work necessary to bulk back up to 155 pounds. He already is at a disadvantage having to get back up to 155 pounds anyway. But it's going to be a lot harder for him, even if he was aware of it, to keep that same level of strength with one of his arms out of use for 8 weeks after the Yair fight, which brings him up to basically the start of October. I don't like this whatsoever. You know what I mean? And this is something that a lot of people aren't mentioning. And I would love it if Volkanovski wins. And if he does pull this off, he is absolutely goated. No doubt about it. But man, it's a tough ask. It was already a tough ask. But when you think about all this stuff as well, it really does get more difficult for him. And the odds are really stacked against him here.
Going through camp was a bit of a struggle, but I was always going to turn up here and do my thing. But I'll go get that surgery as soon as I get home, and I'll be back in. I still want one this year, so I'll make...
You know, I'll still want one this year. And he says...
Make sure I stay fit while I'm in recovery. And
so you make sure he stays fit in recovery. So my opinion of this is he's going to have good cardio. He's probably going to be jogging not long after the surgery takes place or doing some kind of cardiovascular exercise to stay in shape so he doesn't lose any progress on his physique or anything like that. But he's not going to be able to do any weight training with one arm. You know what I mean? He's going to be very limited there. He's not going to be doing any sparring. No one's going to be able to kick that arm for a very long time. You know what I mean? And this is like he spent the weekend in the US, flew back to Australia, and then maybe got the surgery. So you're already cancelling out half a week of, like, it's not like he went straight to the hospital in the US and got the surgery. He got it done in Australia when he got home. This is what I'm worried about. He ain't been wrestling either, has he, during that time of recovery? How's that arm feeling for this fight? Is it like, yeah, you know, good enough. I think I'll be all right, you know, and all that type of stuff. So I've just been preparing for specifics on my arm and put me in there. I'll beat Makhachev 9 times out of 10. I feel like he's a little bit overconfident when it comes to this situation. I like that from him because he does thrive when it's against the odds for him. But are these too many odds to be against is what I'm worried about, to be honest with you. Is this too many odds to be against? Because as I said, this video of him having the surgery was 2 months ago. Of him getting this surgery done on his arm. 2 months ago, that was. Probably 2 months and 3 weeks, as I said. I'm not saying it was dead on 8 weeks and it's only just been 2 months. But it's been not even 3 months since he's had this surgery. If he pulls it off against Makhachev, he's absolutely a G. But I just can't trust him to win this one with all of this information in mind. There's also a moment here where he speaks about it with Megan O'Leary as well.
Oh, man, look, it's nothing to whinge about it. I'm sure a lot of fighters go in fights with little nigglies. Maybe it's a bit more. Like I had to get cortisone shots and, obviously on a lot of anti-inflammatories and that just to look after it. But I can't do that forever. You know what I mean? That's not healthy. So
this is something that's been bugging him about his arm, and he went through the Yair Rodriguez fight with it, and he's had to get shots in his arm, and it's been bugging him for a long time, and can't do it forever. He's got to finally get the surgery for it.
It got me through. I was able to do it. It was annoying, but I mean, I got through camp, did my business, and now I might quickly go back, get that surgery, still train, still stay fit. Again, I want to be active even with surgeries. You'll see me in the gym, you'll still see me, and you'll still see me back before most other champions anyway. So,
and I respect that about Volk, but his initial plan was to return in January for the Ilia Topuria fight. That was the rumor. That was all but confirmed before Oliveira was announced as out of his fight against Islam Makhachev. They basically announced Alexander Volkanovski, Ilia Topuria, January, Canada, UFC 298 or 7. I don't know which one it would have been. I think it would have been 297. In January, pay-per-view main event, Volkanovski versus Topuria. That was all but announced for him to come back in January. That was his timeline to return. Not a couple of months later, 3 months later, against Islam Makhachev across the world on short notice, on a week and a half's notice. After surgery. It's just, if he pulls it off, more power to him. And he tells people not to worry and stuff here.
That shows you what type of guy I am. I didn't mean to scare everyone by saying I was getting a surgery and everyone thinks, oh no, he's gone forever. I go, that ain't me. I'll train, I'll keep fit, and I'll be back in here even before the end of the year. But easy.
He was mentioning that December was his initial return date. And then he found out, and this is another part about it as well, his initial return idea was to come back in December, and people were saying, well, I don't know if that might be a bit too soon for him to return against Ilia Topuria, but I guess if he wants to stay active, I get it. And people are even talking about, you know what, maybe December's too soon if he's getting surgery right now. And it even got delayed from December to January. So even in his own mind, oh man, it's so unfortunate. I want him to win, and I love the matchup, but I don't like when things are rushed and people don't have adequate time to prepare. If he pulls it off, I don't even think this video is going to age badly. Even if he does pull it off, I think this is something that is necessary to get across to the public because people are betting on these fights. You know what I mean? And it just worries me because I love these big matchups, but I hate when they're done, when one side is just not as ready as the other. I want it to be an even playing field. Both guys get an 8-week training camp. Maybe they meet in the middle in the US rather than someone having it on their home turf. And then we have this amazing rematch that's going to be cemented in history. Not someone steps in on a week and a half's notice, flies across the world for it, not prepared for 155, just come out of surgery a couple of weeks ago, pretty much. He's literally been a couple of weeks recovered from an arm surgery. And here he is fighting against Islam Makhachev. After a couple of weeks of being like, yeah, that feels good. Feels good enough, eh? Throw some kicks at it and all that. Yeah, let's do some wrestling. And now all of a sudden he's fighting Makhachev for the lightweight belt. I don't like it.
You revealed afterwards that you're going to need some surgery, need a little time off. I guess, how serious is that? How long do you expect to be out?
I mean, I didn't mean to scare everyone with that. Like, when I say I'm going to do it, yeah, it's not a big deal. I'll be back in ASAP. It will be a quick one. Just need to get something sorted. But I'll be training. I broke my hand last International Fight Week. And you see me at Abu Dhabi ready to fight Islam or Charles Oliveira. That was
But you didn't end up fighting. You know what I mean? You didn't end up getting that fight. And it's probably a good thing you didn't, man. Because this mindset, you're too Chad for your own good, Volk. Somebody drain some testosterone out of this man. It's too much. You know what I mean? Like, please, think for a second. You know what I mean? He was going to fight broken hand, just recovered from a broken hand. Time to fill in as a short notice backup opponent. Just take your time. Fight Ilya in January. Then we can talk about lightweight against Makhachev. Like, I love that he saved the event. But, man, this guy is too stubborn for his own good.
Broken bone. This ain't a broken bone. It will be...
Okay, it's not a broken bone, so it's probably like a muscle tear or a ligament damage that he's had to have surgery for. Maybe on an elbow joint. Something very important if you're going to be training wrestling and stuffing takedowns with underhooks and scrambling with someone. Just a heads up.
You're right. I'll be you don't need to stress about that. I'll be training unprofessional. You know, I want to be active. Again, I'll be back in there before most of the other guys, the other champions anyway. So don't worry about that.
And he talks about the fact that he'll be back in December, and then that turned into January. But man, I'm worried for Volkanovski. I don't like this for Alexander Volkanovski, man. And people don't even talk about this when they talk about it. Like, they're talking about, oh, Volk, you know, stepped in, saved the card, but he is on a week and a half's notice. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, this guy's only really been back to full training outside of minimal, like, on the exercise bike type training. Maybe drilling leg kicks is what he's been doing in the meantime. Who knows? But this guy has barely been able to fully train MMA for a couple of weeks by now. You know what I mean? 6 to 8 weeks, basic surgery recovery time for like some kind of damage to that. Maybe if you want to talk 5 weeks before he's back in there doing full stuff, if he really is built different. But that still ain't good enough, man. If he pulls it off, he's a savage, and this will only add to his win. But this story needs to be told. I don't like this for him. Not ready for 155, not bulked up for 155 like he was for the first fight when he had basically 2 training camps to adjust to that weight class, made weight on short notice as a backup, and then came in afterwards knowing that it was going to be at 155, had a bunch of time off, prepared himself, bulked himself up. This isn't a bulked up version of Volk to 155. This is a 145-pound Volk who thought he was fighting Ilya Topuria in January, who had surgery, recovered from that surgery maybe 3 weeks ago, and now is stepping in to fight Islam Makhachev on a week and a half's notice across the world. Good luck, man. Good luck, Volk. If Volk pulls it off, he's an absolute savage, and you've got to put him in the top 5 GOAT list. That's all you got to say. If he somehow pulls this one off, put him in the top 5 GOAT list. I don't know what this guy's mind is made out of, but you got to respect it. I just don't respect it enough to put my bet or prediction on there, to be honest with you. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle Pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye.